do that again. So it's the end of the sprint 7. So we are doing the demo. We are on July 6, 2018. Lucas will start, followed by Mike, and then Viet will demo. Demo. Right. So Lucas, you can start.
Okay, thank you. In this demo, I would like to show you what was working for this spring from the team. So the first thing that we are going to show is that now we have introduced the service session timeout. So when we log in into Kiali, so now we will have a session warning, and I was with the default is something 30 minutes, something like that, but it's something configurable. And we are going to warn you to exit, to log out, okay? So another improvement that we did in the UI is that the style, the UI, the UX, we are unifying the UI style with the OpenShift console and following the Patternfly recommendation. So now the message centers and also the warnings, all the toolbar in the warnings are a different style, unifying with all the style into the OpenShift. Another important change that we introduced in this sprint is that we've been focused to removing the all deprecated API. So if you remember, in Istio 07.1, so we deprecated the root rules version 1, which basically was the root rules and destination policies objects, and now we have moved the wording or the semantics with root rules, so we have more moved to virtual services. So now in the graph we can see that we have a virtual services here, virtual services here, and if we click into the product page, we will see that the tabs for root rules and destination policies has been removed, and we are just focused on the new objects for virtual services 1 destination rules. Okay, this is also important. Another improvement that we have introduced in the Istio config, if we have increased the support to all the configuration objects from Istio. So now we can just support gateways, for example. We can support gateways was the new concept for the Ingress services. In the previous API was called to all the Ingress configuration for the incoming traffic. So now has a new object which is called gateway, but basically it's the same functionality. For the egress services, now we are going to support service entry objects, which is also supported from the Istio configuration. And objects that were not supported in the previous version was those related of quota and rules, quotas and quota spec bindings, and also the rules related to quota. So we have, for example, defined our Istio mixer rule, defining a quota here, okay, where we can see the handler and the instance of the templates. But now we can see, for example, which are related to this object, the quota, to define what type of a quota we are going to define and where, which is the quota spec binding. So this is the new objects that now we can just to check inside the system. One change that we introduced as a consequence of to remove the root rules objects, we have some validation, some visual validation in the previous rules. All this validation has now been moved into the virtual services with the same semantics. So, for example, now we have a virtual services under the booking info review services, and we can see 2 destinations in 2 ways, tour 80 and 20. So the same validation that we have in the past is something that we are going to maintain. For example, just to go to modify, to do some modification here, to put some path validation, for example. And if I go to Kiali and I refresh, okay, I should say that, okay, we have some validation, the weight should be 100, the weight must be a number. If I click into the YAML, I will see that in the editor is marked where is the problem. The problem is in this root. The weight should be 100, and in this particular weight, the weight should be a number because I have a typo here. Okay, this is something that was a functionality that was currently implemented into tools, but now has been migrated into the virtual services object. So I'm going to go back to the service. Another improvement that we have is that, for example, in the services now, it's a performance improvement. We are loading things more in a synchronous way. So, for example, we fetch first the services list and the health and other calculations that could be more heavy. So, are done in background in asynchronous ways and refreshing automatically. So, a new validation that we have with the new API, with the virtual services, one thing that is not fully defined in Istio is that we cannot have two virtual services pointing to the same host. In that case, the behavior is basically undefined, so we don't know how it's going to work. So in this case, we introduce in Kiali a new validation, for example, where if for some reason I have some repeated some problems, I created two virtual services into the same service. So it's going to warn you that more than one virtual service from the same host could give you some undefined behavior. So something not supported for Istio. So it's something that it may happen. So in Istio, it's quite easy to create mistakes. For example, let me clear the filters. So I'm going to show you how easy it is to create some problems. So, for example, in this, I'm using the Istio CTL command just to delete some root rules or.
You have a typo in delete.
Oh yeah, sorry, thank you. Okay, so if I refresh, I don't have a lot of problems, but imagine that I want to recreate my Istio rules. And for some reason, I mistake the namespace and I create rules into the wrong namespace, which is something pretty simple to do. So Kiali is going to show all these rules as market as problems. So it's something, hey, why I have this virtual services which is coming from the routing examples. It's just what is out of the box, but I created on the wrong namespace. So it's something that Kiali is going to warn you. So, but it's something that this is started. We had this validation before. The way is that now we have increased it also in the objects of the new root rules. Sorry, in the new networking API from the East. And I guess that's all from my side. I guess that's all the change that we introduced in this sprint. Thank you.
Thanks, Lucas. It was great. Mike?
Okay. Let me share my screen.
Yep. Well, it will.
Okay. You see that fine?
Yeah, it's small, but yes.
Yeah.
Know that.
Okay, good morning. So this is a Saturn part of the Sprint 7 demo Sprint 7 was mainly bug fixing and stability sprint, but we were also able to add some new features in. So as Lucas stated, we now have the Istio 080 support. That included a lot of behind the scenes changes to scripts and infrastructure as well. Next up is probably the most obvious feature here is you can see the new zoom pan control, and that is this guy here. So this adds, before we had the capability to zoom and move stuff around, but this makes it a little more usable and a little more apparent on how to do this kind of stuff because of this control. The other nice thing it has is zoom in on stuff. It has this feature that is a zoom to fit, and so you fit in whatever thing you're looking at. So, for instance, if I get lost in some zoom somewhere, I can always just go back out to the right size, and that's a little more important when you're changing the views and stuff. Works a little bit better that way. If you're changing the layouts. Next up was let's see, traffic animation. So we introduced traffic animation last time, but there were some issues where the traffic animation didn't follow the curves properly. So you can see that's now fixed here. So before the dot would take a little bit different path than the curve. So that's fixed. Also for straight lines, they were moving at different speeds. So for instance, long edges took longer to make the animation, and the shorter edges were faster than the long edges. So it looked a little bit strange. So at least now everything's all same speed. It's fixed.
A quick question on the animation.
Yeah.
When you enabled the animation, we see the animation, but there's no legend for what the animation means.
We have the legend. Is this the legend you're wanting?
I guess so. Does that imply that the color of the dot is going to indicate error rate versus whatever? Okay, and then so the other question is there some kind of size based on the amount of traffic, or is it purely just showing errors?
It's over. So the legend says over 10% error, so it's a percentage rate.
Right.
We do not have a legend.
Go ahead.
We do not have a legend for speed, right, or number of dots. We should, but we do not today. But there is a correlation. There is a correlation between speed and the request response time and the number of dots for the request rate. But we should document that somewhere.
So it's kind of future coming?
Yeah, the legend would be. I mean, this is how it works now. We just haven't documented anywhere nicely where people can say, "Oh, that's what the speed of the."
I get you. No, it's super cool. I was just curious. Thanks for the feedback.
Probably needs a little bit additional explanation there, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to turn that off now. Latencies now have been relabeled as response time. Something to note. Badges are turned on now. Before we didn't have all the badges turned on by default. So obviously you can off if you want, but the badging is on by default now. Disabled legends are more readable, so we actually go in to the detailed charts. Some of these before, when they were disabled, you couldn't actually read them. They were so light. So just a small UXD usability thing. The spinner, you notice up here. So the spinner, before when we had errors, the spinner wouldn't turn off. So that was a bug fix. I think the most important fix for this sprint is go to the system, and this is actually you'll notice a new shape in here, and the shape is a pentagon, and the pentagon is actually that's request coming from or going to services in another namespace. So that's a important feature that was asked for and in there. So this service 3 here was actually from Kiali test circle callback namespace. So when I click on that, you can see it shows, that's the namespace. Like, and this service 3 here is actually from Kiali test breadth namespace. So I think that's probably the most important feature there, new feature. It was definitely asked for by customers. The other thing is we started on productization task for inclusion in the technical previews.
It might be good to show that you can double click on the pentagon and it will take you to the other namespace in case people are a bit confused.
Okay, so now we're in that namespace, so I'll do that again. So let's say we want to go into the Kiali test breadth. Actually, it's a single click. So by single clicking, you go into the whatever namespace that service was in.
No, that's not right. It should have been double click.
Yeah.
And I noticed the namespace drop down didn't change either but this looks broken a little bit still.
Okay, there might be a bug there. Okay, so we're going to go into Kiali test depth is what we're looking for here. That takes us into that Kiali test depth. Yep. So double click does
that work.
Yeah. So was it single click that? So now let's go into Kiali test circle. Yeah, which just shows it on the side. So yeah, I think it's all right. Okay, that concludes my demonstration.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was told earlier that Viet want to demo his demo. Example. You hear?
Hello, everyone.
Can you share your screen?
Did you see my screen?
Yes.
All right. So I have been building a real world app to demonstrate all the cool features of Istio and Kiali. It's inspired by a popular photo sharing app. And as you can see, in 2005, if I sit down with someone, I would draw how my app would look on a piece of napkin. And in 2018, we have Kiali. And without a lot of explanation, you can see that my app has two services of the front end, which is two different versions of the React app. And then it's connect to a API server, which potentially can be scaled up to multiple versions. And then the API server is talking to a MongoDB backend. So even though it's a fictional, but it's pretty, it's a typical modern web app. React front end, REST API, and a MongoDB. I can show you I can share this URL. You all can hit it. So one of the feature of Istio is A/B testing. So I have a rule that will split the incoming traffic. 75% of the traffic go into version 8, which is production, the current release. And let's say we want to roll out version 9, we call that pilot. 25% of the traffic go into version 9. So some of you might see either a broken web app or a purple, the app with the purple background. Yeah, and that's all to it. I would like to, by building this app, I was able to uncover a couple issues in Istio, and I like to expand a bit more on it. Adding circuit breakers, some intelligent traffic routing, maybe submitted to the official Istio demo repo. So this concludes the demo of the demo.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, I was looking at the pictures. All right, that concludes the demo. I'll stop the recording, but if you want to, for more comments if you want. All right, bye.